Hey guys, welcome to 10-Minute Tuesday. Sorry, it's a little shaky. My name is Crys'Dawna. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. So every Tuesday we go over different things in the furniture painting world. But today I did a little bit of thrifting. So I'm going to show you guys what I found and I'm going to show you what I look for. Now, if you guys haven't followed me for a while, I live in Germany and I was able to go over to Luxembourg, and I can't videotape a lot of stuff. It's very private here. So I'm going to show you what I found, and I'm going to show you the type of things that I look for when I am trying to find furniture to create art with. So stay tuned. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you guys are subscribing. You hit that bell, you'll get all the latest notifications. And we are going to pull this stuff out. I'm going to unload it. And we're going to look at what I got. I know someone's going to ask me what kind of vehicle do I use, especially living here in Germany. Big, huge trucks are not a huge thing. So I have a Land Rover LR4. It's got a really good space on the top, and I got about 3 things in there in a chair. So this is what I use. I can't pick up a ton of stuff, but if I ever wanted to, I could hook on a trailer and go thrifting, longer thrifting, which I think I might do this summer once everything starts opening up. So let me pull all this out. I'm here by myself, so I'm going to have to unload this and then we will go over everything I got. Okay, so I'm outside. Pardon the noise if you hear cars go by, but I got this cane chair, which I super love. I'm going to use it for staging. I probably will not paint it. I might leave it like that. I also have this bar. So one thing that I look for in pieces that I pick up is make sure that if they have locks, that they have keys that come with them. And let's move this chair. And that they open. There we go. Okay. So this is a bar. It's got a mirror on it. It's got a shelf on it. It opens. Looking good. I also make sure I look for, this is really pretty, isn't it? I also make sure noise. I also make sure I look, because I live here in Europe and woodworm is a common thing. I make sure I look for signs of woodworm. There's no holes or damage on it. I don't want to bring home woodworm. Okay. I don't want to bring home woodworm. So also I got this little small buffet. It could be like an entryway table. It's a little bit bigger than like this little bar here. But another thing I make sure I look for is I want to make sure that we have all the hardware on these ones. Now, if it's something that I'm probably not going to keep in the first place, then I don't mind if I don't have all the hardware, but I want to keep the hardware the same on here. And so that's why I want to make sure that I have all the hardware. And I also, let me push this back. I also want to make sure that my drawers slide in and out nicely. So we've got, it's an older piece, but they're all wooden. So the drawers, there's a wooden drawer slide under here. The drawers are wooden. So of course it's going to have a little bit of play in it, but as long as they are sliding in and out, I can always put wax on it. So I make sure I look for that. And then I got this dresser right here as well. And this thing is heavy, 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 but there is no super crazy damage on the top of any of these. Although I could fix it, you want to make sure, especially if you're just starting out, that there's nothing that you can't fix. So don't bring home a piece just because it got super cheap. Let's say it was like $20 and you were like, oh, I can totally, flip this or fix it. And it ends up costing you, $100 in repairs aside from your supplies. So make sure that you're not picking stuff up that does not have, it's not fixable. So here's another thing too. This dresser is pretty unique and this hardware on here is unique. And I would not be able to, I probably could find it, but it would be a pain. So when you find a piece that has super unique hardware like this, make sure that it has all of the hardware, okay? You can sometimes find hardware even like this to replace, and you can find these to replace, but this hardware is pretty unique, and this dresser is fairly big. So this hardware is really, it's quite wide. And so if you wanted to change it out, you're gonna have to find something wider. You could plug the holes, but to keep it symmetrical, you're going to want something a little bit bigger. And so that's why you want to make sure that you keep the hardware, or that it has the hardware on it, or you have something in mind if you're going to change it that's going to fit with your piece. So this is really great. These drawers are in good shape. They come in and out. Now I want to show you one thing. There is a space right here in this drawer. Not a big deal when you pull it out, because there's little grooves right here. You can just pull it out and you can tap it back in here. Maybe put some wood glue right here. That's not a super crazy fix right there. Now, if your drawers are wonky, maybe they're not going in even. I mean, if the piece is just absolutely not even, there we go. If it's absolutely not even and those drawers are just so messed up that you don't think that you're going to be able to fix them, I would probably pass on it with you being a beginner. So I'm going to talk, these are the things that I found today. I really like them. I'm actually sitting on the chair right now. So this is wood. This has got some cane. I am going to use this for staging, but if I were going to resell this, I would want to make sure it's super sturdy. Now it's not really, really sturdy. I just sat on it and it didn't break, but there are, let's flip this upside down. I wanted to make sure, I don't want to replace the cane. And so this cane is actually perfect. There is nothing wrong with it. Okay. Now, if you want to replace the cane on something and you don't mind if there's a rip, then great. But I didn't want to. I wanted it to be in perfect condition. This is clearly used. It is super awesome. You've got the bolts in here. Okay. So I'm going to keep this obviously, but if I was going to sell it, I would want to keep all this stuff original. And you can tighten these things. If you are going to keep it and you want to make sure it's safe for your own house, you may want to replace some of these screws and things like that just to keep it safe for you and for your guests if they're going to be sitting on it. Now, if it's just going to be a statement piece like this will end up being in my house, I don't want people sitting on it, then I'm not too worried about it. But, you know, it's maybe got a little bit of chunk missing, not too big of a deal. That kind of adds character, but there's nothing super crazy on any of these pieces that needs to be fixed. Okay, so that's the main thing first, looking at the surface, making sure that there's nothing on them that needs to be completely redone. Do you have to replace the top because the top is completely destroyed or warped? No. Did you look at the back of the piece? When you look at the back of these pieces, make sure you're looking for little holes. If there's any kind of sign of some woodworm in here, you want to make sure there's obviously not on these. I would not pick them up. You want to open them up. You want to make sure there's no signs on the back of it. Okay. So look at the back, make sure that you don't see any damage, no water damage on your veneer, things like that. Now, if you are experienced and maybe replacing veneer or taking veneer off of something is not a big deal to you, then by all means. But this is more for what to look for if you're just starting. And really to spend a little bit more on a piece that's perfect will sometimes help you in the long run. I cannot tell you how many times in the beginning of my business, I was like, oh, that piece is gonna be cheap, $20. And it was so much more work than it was worth. So make sure you check that out. Now I'm going to put this stuff in the garage and we're gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna talk about a few things that you want to look at on the inside as well. Sometimes though, these things are sneaky and you don't realize it till you get it home. Okay, so there's gonna be a couple more things that I want you to look for or ask before you pick up pieces. And let me get this stuff in the garage and then I will finish this 10-minute Tuesday with you. Okay, everybody, so I'm back inside, put everything in the garage, and there's a couple things that I want you to kind of be aware of. Now, sometimes when you are out, let's say that you're at, Goodwill, or you're at a truck, or you're at a thrift store. Sometimes thrift stores have that musty smell, or you can't really smell stuff. Sometimes places have potpourri going, whatever, okay? But let's say that you are buying from something on Marketplace or, online. The first thing I always ask, is it from a smoke-free house? Now, I've had people tell me yes, and they lied. I've gone to their house and it smells like smoke. This is the main thing I want to tell you. Do not be afraid to say no thank you and walk away, okay? Although I realize that sometimes with us doing furniture, we go into some sketchy areas. My husband will tell you that there are some pretty sketchy places that I've taken him, and sometimes you're like, I'll just take it, I don't even care. So at that point, what my suggestion to you would be, okay, so let's backtrack for a second. Make sure you're asking if it's from a smoke-free house. I know that people say you can get smoke out of furniture, but I am telling you, so I do not smoke. I'm super sensitive to cigarette smoke. I can smell it 3 cars ahead of me if someone's smoking. So there are some people who are super sensitive to it and some people who aren't. My husband's not as sensitive to it. And so I bought a dresser and I did everything to it that I could, that I knew over the years, was taught, the vodka, the baking soda, the Boss, the shellac, all the things. I tried all the things and it still smelled to me. So be aware of that. So sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes you pick a piece up and you don't realize that it has that smell to it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, what should I do? Now, I realize that not everybody has the money to just go buy pieces and have them be project pieces. But if this happens to you, I just want to give you an example of something that you can do to salvage it, make sure it's all for naught, not all for naught, that you can turn these pieces into something that you use for your portfolio. So you do something with it and then it's a portfolio piece. I know that not everybody has the product to do that with, but that is an option. I'm not saying do that and waste your stuff. I'm not saying you should have all this stuff and waste all your stuff. I'm just saying that if you do have extra products sitting around, maybe you've got a couple jars of paint that you need to work on. Maybe you sell the paint and you need to showcase the paint or something like that. You can always use these pieces as a project piece, as an example piece, what have you. If not, you can try to do what you can, but for me, I know cigarette smoke is a no, 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 no. If I can avoid it, no, no. But again, sometimes things happen and you don't realize. Maybe someone has put a bunch of perfume on it or you got it at a store and you didn't realize it smelled. The second thing that you want to make sure you're aware of is cat pee. I know that sounds really gross and you're like, what? Cat pee, dog pee. There are people who have animals that pee all over their furniture, and I have seen it, heard it, smelt it, and it happens. And that is one thing that you cannot get out, especially if you've got, if it's a chair with fabric on it. You can clean it as much as you want. Sometimes if you get it right away, or maybe there's a thick lacquer on it, then it'll be okay. But with that acid in there, it can eat through that finish. So just be aware of different smells, things like that, the finish on it. If this piece is just a big hunk of junk, don't be afraid to walk away and just say, I'm not comfortable with it. Don't have your eyes or your creativity be bigger than what your abilities are. Now, if you want to learn how to work on stuff and you want to learn how to fix those drawers and things like that, and you like a challenge, then do it. But I'm just telling you from experience, there are some times where I've picked up, you don't think in the beginning of this business, sometimes even now, you don't think about the pieces that you're picking up because it's so awesome and you feel like you got to get it before somebody else does. And then you get it home and you're like, oh my goodness. Also, if you're like me and you feel really bad, you're like, okay, I'll just give you the money, I'll take the piece. But then you have to pay to dispose of the piece. Then you're having to, so it's okay to be picky on the pieces that you want to flip or want to paint or do stuff with, because if you are trying to make a profit, remember that people understand that these pieces are used or vintage or antique, or maybe not even, they're just, from 10 years ago. But also you don't want to give people crap, okay? So you don't want to buy crappy furniture and then give it to somebody, because even the best artists out there, there's a saying, it's called, you can't polish a turd, okay? There's a saying, and it's, you can't make something that's awful look better just with paint, okay? So if you don't have the capabilities or the tools, make sure you're cognizant of that so you don't waste your time. So anyways, that's what you want to look for. If I missed something, let me know in the comments below what you look for in furniture when you are trying to flip your furniture or paint your own furniture or what have you. Let me know in the comments below what I missed. I'm sure I missed something. I always do. This was the first time I went out and thrift in a while, so I only picked a couple pieces up, and I should have picked up, I think next time I'm going to try to videotape so I can show you guys some of the more crappy pieces that you shouldn't pick up. I know, I should show the crappy pieces and the good pieces, but I didn't. So if you guys are not subscribed, make sure you are hitting the subscribe button, Let me know in the comments what you look for. What is a no-no? I'd like to know that. Let me know. I want to know what is an absolute deal breaker when it comes to furniture. Okay. Oh, also make sure you're looking inside for mouse poop. I'm sorry to bring this up because I can't stand these things. Cockroaches. If there's any sign of cockroaches, run away because they embed themselves in things and you will bring it in your house and you will never get, just don't do it. Okay. Don't do it. All right, guys, that is it. I will see you guys later. I will have a furniture video out this week. Have an awesome week and I will see you later.